Now let's travel from Portugal to Hungary, where teaching material was developed to complement the curriculum developed by Nova. And I would like to give the floor to teachers of foRMAtion University of Budapest, Kovarine, Ignath, and Lidia Vinczene, Fekete. Please tell us about the teaching materials.
Good morning. We came from Kovarine University, and let me introduce my colleague, Kovarine Ignath. She is the head of the Department of International Relations that belongs to the Global Institute of Global Sciences at Kovarine, and I belong to the Teacher Training Center of the university as an educational methodology advisor. And as a researcher, I study teacher communication and student emotions, the measurement of student emotions. So that's how we came into this project, and the contribution of both of these units is included and being exploited during this common work. Okay. Yes. In the past years, in the past 5 years at Kovarine University, we have been redesigned the main training programs on the university based on the principles of the constructivist pedagogy, and especially based on the learning outcomes approach and the steps recommended by the European higher education area based on the recommendations of and the conclusions of the tuning project. And that means that this is in line with the recommendations of the main policy documents as well. And one of the pedagogical tools, which is represented by this beautiful triangle, is the Bloom taxonomy. This is just representing the different levels of student skills that that they can achieve during the learning process. And why do I want to present you this theory very briefly? Because during this development process, our aim was not only to reach the two first level, understanding and remembering the content, because usually in traditional education, teachers are very happy if their students can just can understand or remember, or moreover understand the content. Can you have this? Okay. So during this process, together with Nova University, in agreement with them, we followed the steps recommended by the European higher education area. That means that we started to set the goals of these courses, of this new course. Then we set together the learning outcomes. This was a very, very deep and long process, taking several months. And this was based on the results of the first intellectual output of the project, and also our personal experiences and research results. So thank you very much. Then in parallel, we defined the student activities and the curriculum and the structure of the training. And the teacher's guide and the curriculum has been developed in line and in a close collaboration with the two institutions. And during this process, we learned a lot from each other. You can say that, okay, this is beautiful, but maybe you are coming from a country where you are more lucky than us and you have a very advanced education system, or maybe you are not sure why should you be interested in our results. We have several reasons for that. Let us highlight only 7 of these reasons why you should be interested in them. The first is that it is very easily adaptable to different countries, groups, and contexts. That means that it has been developed in it can be adapted to BA and MA level equally. It has been piloted in 3 different countries, and for courses with different number of hours, so longer and shorter courses, and for students coming from very diverse backgrounds and from different countries. And we experienced that in different contexts, this material could be used very easily. One of the tools that helped teachers to implement this is that you can use this teacher's guide as a menu card or maybe a book of recipes that you can select according to your actual needs, the students' needs and competencies, the activities that they need or what it is possible or easy for you to implement. For helping teachers to select the core and the additional or extra part of the curriculum. Some parts are written with gray, and some are written by or are black, and this also has this. The second reason that it develops transferable skills, soft skills, that was already mentioned by Christina as well. Because according to our own experiences, according to our survey and the research literature and the labor market feedback as well, soft skills are especially important and required in the case of research managers. They are the superman and superwoman of this research ecosystem, I think. So some of these soft skills that these student activities develop are responsibility, communication, creative problem solving, collaboration, time management, adaptability, and leadership. And these are only some of them. These can be developed are developed according to the recommendations of this teacher handbook in 3 ways. The main and most powerful way to develop these activities is using active learning techniques, learning activities during which students unintentionally use these skills and develop these skills. Then, as a second step, we introduce them some theories regarding these areas, but very briefly. And as a third step, we use the tool of self-reflection, because based on their experiences and their theoretical knowledge, they can reflect on themselves and they can assess the concrete situations and apply this knowledge in the practice. So the third reason why we offer you or recommend you to study this output is that if it offers a variety of teaching methods and tools. These are some of them. And yes, we made a survey. We collected good practices from everywhere. So this is a very rich and very varied set of tools. So even if you are teaching something else, it can be very useful for you to have a look into this material. And diversity is a key concept nowadays in the EU and in the planning of different projects. And this output is really based on diversity in terms of nationalities. It was piloted in different countries, and in the experts from different scientific area contributed to this material based on our relationships at the university and in the partnership. And yes, this is just a picture representing the diversity of this project. During the pandemic, one of our lessons, and this will be a tradition for now because it has a great success, we had an international lesson, an online international lesson, where students from Romania, Hungary, and Portugal participated and worked together in small groups online. And we, as the teachers, we also shared the work, and it was a great adventure for us.
Thank you. And now moving on to reason number 5. It can also help developing teachers' competences and teaching competences. And as you can see, the applied approaches can enhance the lecturer's teaching competences, which can also be appealing. And also, the teaching material contains useful good practices and examples for good practices that can be applied during the seminars and seminar activities. And it can also enhance the facilitator role of the teacher during the learning process of the students. And let's shift to a brief introduction of the whole structure of the teaching material. While the teaching material itself follows the same structure each lesson. So in the beginning of each lesson, you can find the learning outcomes that are planned to be achieved and are achieved during the session. And then a very detailed lesson plan is also included. There are 24 of those lesson plans in the teaching material. You can also find estimated times that are assigned to each seminar activity. Those are estimated times, but still you can count on them, and you can also design the lesson. You can also find recommendations for assessment assigned to each seminar activity, and it can also give you a help in grading. At the end of each lesson, we provided links for further readings in order to aid the teachers, lecturers, and to reach further information regarding the material and the content of the lectures, of the lessons, sorry. And also in the annexes, you can find some templates, evaluation tables, also descriptions and samples. For example, we also indicated some samples for avatars, because when introducing workplace simulations, the students could choose avatars and they could play the roles of those avatars. Shifting to reason number 6, active learning in general makes learning more enjoyable and more efficient. Our experience was that the students paid full attention during the seminars. They could concentrate on the seminar activities. And in general, active learning helps developing higher competency levels, and also it results in more solid knowledge regarding the content. Just to give you a short example, one of the tasks of the modules was to create a promotion video in connection with the foRMAtion project. So in order to accomplish successfully this task, the students had, on the one hand, get acquainted with the foRMAtion project itself. They also had to identify the stakeholders, understand the needs of the stakeholders and interests. And they also had to be creative in order to prepare the promo video. And just to give you an example for student feedback, you can read that for the what do you like in this course, one of the students wrote that it was very practical, it gave hands-on knowledge, and also the different situational games were beneficial for the students. And last but not least, reason number 7, the curriculum and the teaching material was prepared for BE level students who have not yet made their career choices. But after accomplishing the modules, they got acquainted with a new profession, the RMA profession. It could also raise interest in finding internship in the RMA profession, which some did actually. And also it could foster a more conscious career choice, like moving towards the RMA profession in a very early age, and then develop as an RMA further. So take it, test it, enjoy it, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Eva. Before we move to the question and answer session, I would like to give the floor to Advisory Board Member Edwin Kanters from the Netherlands. Please tell us about your reflections about the curriculum and the teaching material.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I've been one of the Oh, in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
So I've been in front of the, I've been in the advisory board for the foRMAtion project, and it has been an honor, especially also working with such a nice group and also such a group of professionals. Yesterday we had a short, really short advisory board meeting, and one of the things that we especially also started off with was the how excellent the deliverables and the things that have been coming out of the foRMAtion group has been, because you might not really realize, but designing courses with gamification, with avatars, with blended learning, with real examples, is top-notch course development, which is often, when I was young as a student, I went from genetics to immunology to cardiovascular disease, and I had no idea how the university looked like and what the innovation ecosystem was. So as advisory board, I would also like to kind of give to the group that it's more than just RMA. It's just we are doing, we are setting the stage, or we are promoting research management and administration, but actually with those courses, we are also learning the students how the research, innovation and ecosystem at the university looks like. And that is something, when I was a student, I missed. I had no clue before I started as a PhD student how funding worked. And I really like the presentation also with the Bloom pyramid and with all the other stuff, because I have been in teaching for quite some time before I was an RMA. I have been heading a master program in Amsterdam. And within that master program, I also tried to learn the students what the ecosystem looked like. And that gave such an advantage for the students that's really important to, or an extra thing to give them. An additional thing is that I think that teaching the students what it is to be an RMA is also part of the broader open science discussion that we are having right now, especially the part in the recognition of other parts than just the research. I see within the universities that there is an emphasis, or not an emphasis, what there is. All right, Virag, I will. There's something about, they are focusing on education, but it's also important, I think, to show that there is more than that. And I compare it maybe also with a soccer team. It's not only the soccer players that are important, not only the researchers that you should focus on. There's so much more than that. There's a whole physiotherapy, coaches, everything, and it should be shown to the students. So with that maybe broader picture in mind, I would like to end. I would look at the other board member of the advisory board members, but Virag really, she's strict, so I have to finish.
You're scary.
But it has been really nice to be part of this project, and I think the outcomes are excellent, and it's not for nothing that they have won prizes. So we should try to continue this, at least give it a place where people can use it.
Thank you very much, Edwin. Now we would like to give the floor to you to raise your questions if you have any. There's one question. The question will go to the teachers or eventually to the advisory board. We shall see.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Miguel Conceição, Universidade of Portugal. And I think this was mainly to Christina. You talked about
about the diversity of the background of the students. Both of you talked about that. Can you give us some more insight if there is a predominance, for instance, in science and technology backgrounds, or if it was spread all across the board? And the other questions regarding the teachers, they were just research management administration, or we got also other professionals involved and from what backgrounds? Thank you.
Okay, so I will stand up, I think. So for NOVA, the course was taught on NOVA School of Social Sciences and Humanities. So the diversity comes within these areas of studies. But it was also very interesting, we had a lot of Erasmus students as well. So it also they also came from different backgrounds. So I'm speaking about geography, anthropology, sociology, international relations, European studies, and this kind of. I think there is at least at NOVA, and then I will give the floor for the other teachers to share their views. But on NOVA, there was a predominance of students that were on international studies and political science, because also the way that we framed or that we named the course, because students really knew nothing about it. So they just actually went for the title of the course. So the title of the course, and then the advertisement and so on, but it was really a new thing. So how can that could be interesting for them? And we also framed the course as research management as the profession at the EU ecosystem. So the EU ecosystem was very catchy for students in the international relations. And then the second time that the course was pilot, then the word of mouth came, so a broader sector of students came. But actually, there was very diverse set of disciplinary areas. And before coming to Corvinus, at NOVA, the teachers were research managers, but at Corvinus and at Sapientia, yes, Dejo, and I will give the floor to Dejo behind you because he was also a teacher in Sapientia. They are professors at the university, of course, some of them with experience on managing projects themselves, but not with the profession of being a research manager. Dejo, do you want to?
Thank you very much. My name is Dejo Sankovic. I'm representing the Sapientia Hungarian University from Transylvania, Romania. At our university, the course was held for students coming from social sciences with the focus on international relations, European studies, and communication. But there were some students from other departments and of the university. And at our university, the course was taught by professors. We have very few experience in research management and administration.
Okay, and so from the side of Corvinus, I just repeat Christina and also Dejo, we had students with different backgrounds: communication, sociology, international relations, business, economics, etc. Our groups were truly international. The course was an elective one, so that's why the students from all the programs of the university could join our courses. And as for the teachers, well, together with Lidia, we had the lessons, although we invited from time to time RMAs and researchers to conduct interviews with them in order to have hands-on experience for the students. Okay, thank you.
Next. There are two more questions, so I don't know what's first.
Thank you. So I actually have several connected questions. Okay. Okay, the first one very concrete. You mentioned one of the skills that you wanted to develop also is multitasking. So I was wondering how you can teach that. Secondly, so it's clear that you expect this course to be adopted by different organizations. who will have their own trainers passing the knowledge, but we also expect like to deliver the training centrally by your consortium or your group, or is it like the end of it that you produce these materials and you wait for other people to adapt them? And if it is the second possibility, then where to start if I want to adopt this training course for our purposes? Thank you.
Maybe I will answer the first question regarding the multitasking, because I was taught to teach learning skills at the university, and I don't encourage Generation Z to multitasking, because this is unproductive, and the human brain is not able to do two things at the same time, even if women think that they can do this. But we are switching our attention between the different tasks, so this is counter-advice for students. But we developed their time management skills, and we showed them IT applications for project management, time management, self-management, and also shared some theories about time management, that this is in reality a priority management, and it's about values and yes, life values. So yes, I did not mention this competence, but I know that we have to cope with this.
Just to, sorry, just to add an additional remark to that, thank you, just for the camera. I don't think we can teach skills in a very traditional way. We can show the tools and we can give hands-on experience, learning by doing, to the students. So they experience what it means to concentrate on different tasks, and when they had to be on time, they have to meet deadlines. But it's not like traditional teaching. Okay, thank you.
And I think still on multitasking, for example, I remember an activity where I brought different research managers actually across the world to join online and to speak about the challenges within the profession. So multitasking was taught and it was discussed, and how to cope with this challenge which this profession faces, but of course it's not limited to this profession. So these are different strategies on how to deal with these competences that and the skills that we mentioned before. So I think the other question is about how to start with, or the idea is to adopt and adapt and change and to improve. So the main idea is to use the material. So it's not only to adopt exactly, totally and replicate, but it's also to see what is useful and how can you adapt it to your purpose. We, in the frame of the alliances, which will be explained a little bit further, but what we are preparing now is a set of trainings, like train the trainer on how to use the materials. And this is first our approach. So not to provide the training itself and being as replicating the training, but to provide the skills and the tools for others to do it and to adapt to their needs. But I think this is we are thinking about how can we foster the usage of these materials. So if there is a specific need and if there is a specific interest, I think we are open to see other ideas on how to use the materials. But the main idea is to train the trainer to adapt and adopt and replicate and change and improve.
Thank you, Christina. And the first Train the Trainer was yesterday, and it turned out to be successful. There will be another one in June. So those that sign up for the foRMAtion Alliance will get information about such opportunities. And there was a last question, if we have time for that. A short one.
Yeah, the question was similar to the previous one, but if any of the courses is still on offer, and we could benefit of hands-on experience, like to participate teachers or students to get more experience, like how we could start with implementing that in our institution. Thank you.
Well, As for the institutions, all the institutions have their own regulatory framework. So maybe that's the first step to take to find out how a new course can be introduced at the university. If in case the institution has shifted towards the learning outcome approach, then you have the very detailed learning outcomes. So in order to prepare the syllabus, you have some ideas how to do that, and also adapt the modules to your system of the semester, whether it's a semester-based, trimester-based, or whatever system you have. So maybe that can be a useful hint. Okay, good. Thank you.